Right, do we have audio over
Maybe. Do you want me to try?
Hard-working media rat to my left. It's now potentially going live properly on YouTube. Bit of buddy cam action on this side. Oh, Jamie Rabbit's trying to reach over the back of his arm. He's got the wingspan to do it though. Nice little jab step in front of the stack. After we go for the swing. YouTube is live, bizarre. Can you hear anything on YouTube? No. So
Yeah,
stay listening to Instagram for my dodgy commentary. Oh, what a lovely crowd. Very nice. Alright folks, I'm going to wrap the Instagram and see if we can get some audio. If not, I will continue to text update you in the live chat. Thank you for joining. See you later. Go find us on YouTube. And if you don't know where that is, youtube.com/ULTI.TV.
Good stuff, Annie. Felix, this microphone's turned off, 100%.
Testing. Okay. Okay, Anna, you got a microphone over here. Oh, it's just that one is on.
Do you want to close this so they can see? Or just foam on top, close.
We've got screws on it. Okay.
Is it plugged in though?
Yeah, it's plugged in.
Alright, sweet. Okay, so it's like just background audio, it's loud enough that we can hear us from here. Have a chair?
Yeah, I mean,
Then I'm behind the mothership. Oh, right. Right. For those of you who've been joining us on the Instagram live stream, welcome to the proper gizmo. Hopefully you can hear us. Let us know in the live chat if you can hear us. That would be ideal. Looking at you, Ian French. Always in our live chats. Or to be fair, Tutty, you can tell us if you can hear us. Right, so ball goes up for Bristol. Warnock centres. Nice movement over to Cameron. Getting a little bit stuck on that far sideline, but all fine. Oh, look at that luscious backhand break. Oh, thank you very much, Frenchie. I see your comment. Wonderful. Got our dulcet tones and everything. Oh, that's a lovely backhand around break again. Bristol really taking on the forces here.
That makes it 9-7 to Bristol against Ranola. If you have just joined us, Bristol got a break at point 2, and since then have just been holding that for the whole game. It has been very good offense. I believe there's only been 3 turns in total throughout the game, and so very highly fought competition here. Both teams really wanted to come out top of this pool.
Well, this is sort of a de facto quarter-final, as it were, because the open format here, it's pretty... Some might describe it as brutal. Harry, would you be one of those people?
Yes, I feel brutish, maybe.
Brutish, all right then, go on.
It's a fair comment to make on it. You do have to do your best to really come out on top. With that said, there are quite a few qualification spots for Euros, so even if you don't end up near the very top, you might still find your way to that big tournament.
Indeed, of course, wild-carded Clapham, we do expect to go home with the gold medal at the end of UK Nats by virtue of, having had a history programme that's, I think they're 14 now on the bounce, something like that.
I think it's better not to count at this point. I think it just fuels them further.
Although, there have been some losses for the GB programme this year, which has a lot of Clapham players on it. And Clapham have also lost themselves against very well-tooled teams earlier in the season. Nice movement on the far sideline for Ranola. We've of course had a big change of personnel. Pops it forward. slide out of bounds for Shane Corcoran. He's going to drop the disc after the sideline informs him.
It's the 4th turn this game. Can Bristol make the most of it?
Well, they did before in relatively fast fashion on the first opportunity. It's their 3rd great chance of the game. Spinning around to Rabbits. Solid switching downfield. All alone at the back of the space is James Taylor, who puts his arms up, but he'll be replaced by Charlie Diggerow, who unfortunately is asked too much of.
You can see the stall count got very high. Good round of defence for the full second. Some good switching to prevent any easy pass, and so in the end, Tall Jamie Rabbits just deciding to have a go at the long shot. A little bit too far, although I will say the Bristol player was open.
Well, this just needs to keep the nerve and hold on to Ranola. That one can be a bit of a lead, but beautifully shapely throw from Sam Murphy that's followed up by a bomb from Corcoran, collected with ease by Josh Reed.
Very nice work from Ranola to make sure that the slight misconnection, just out of bounds shot on their first offence did not lead to any extra points for Bristol. It is 9-8 here to Bristol, so Ranola going to need to pull out something extra themselves, but that hold's very important.
All important indeed, and you might be able to spot just in the cluster there of white-shirted athletes a couple of people doing some sidelining, but most notably, of course, Sarah Melvin, who's taken up the mantle of head coach of Ranola after Ian French stepped down.
Quite a good player herself, Melvin, I know.
Indeed, well, she's actually pulling double duty at this tournament. She's playing over in the women's division as well. I did ask her the all-important question of if her women's team qualify as well, what she'll be doing at EUCF, to which she responded, coaching.
Ah, interesting.
Well, I mean, it's no joke, you know.
No.
If you're playing EUCF, there is a lot of tough competition, and certainly I think probably the goal for most of the teams here is just to qualify for that event. Oh, we've had of course from Ian French, Melvin the GOAT, greatest of all time. She's definitely in the conversation for greatest of all time of female athletes in Europe, if not the world. Has represented Ireland countless times, gold medalists at the European level back in 2019. Eurostars tour 2 seasons.
Not a bad record.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if she's ever got any club gold. Certainly been up there in seasons past. But Ranola putting on his own despite the low wind conditions. Bristol have opened it up with lots of overheads previously, but this time they slice through the middle. Field starts to compress and the zone pays more dividends, but an easy find to Cameron. Vaslet. This is good spacing from Bristol, keeping things nicely positioned to try their best to just thread their way through the zone. Warnock going every other. Hammer over to Cameron. It's a little bit low, but it'll work out.
It's something we saw before. Ranelagh don't like to transition into match defence, or they haven't so far. And both times it has been beaten by a Bristol hammer to someone fairly unmarked in the back.
Well, I mean, it is low wind conditions. That's the risk that you take. And fundamentally, I think it's a good choice from Bristol. That hammer was a little bit low, not the best execution. Cameron did have to squat his butt to the grass to get it. To answer the question in the chat, it is a 10-8 lead at the moment for Bristol. They have the advantage by starting the game on offence, but they also consolidated it by getting the first break and only break of the game, which happened in the second point to take it to 2-0.
So there's only been 5 turns so far this game, so not many opportunities to convert a break either. Bristol with 1 out of 3 successful. Ranola with then 0 out of 2, I'd assume.
So this, of course, is all about trying to fight your way into the top side of the bracket. There are 5 spots available in the Open Division, and one of them is already a gimme because Clapham Ultimate, I'm sure, will be finishing somewhere within the top 5. Where exactly is yet to be decided, though we likely think it might be the top spot again. But yeah, so the top 6 teams, more or less, will be going to the European Championships in Wrocław later on this year. And then, yeah, that's a good reminder from Liam Fletcher in the live chat. Smelvo also got that, indeed, some European gold at the club level on beach, alongside Sam Murphy, who of course took that injury at that tournament and ended up in our booth instead. He joins the very well flushed out injured player commentator group, which I of course am part of myself. And any way I can associate myself with Sam Murphy, I will try to do, because he's just an amazing player.
Just one of the many ways you are like Sam Murphy.
What, being smart and associating myself with good people? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, Shane Corcoran now. Resets around the back. And of course wearing that number 23. Stop. Surely that's not Ben Brunswick. Is it Brunswick? Oh, you dirty boy. That's a lovely hammer over to Sam Murphy, who is a little bit softly marked on the far side.
Yeah, Bristol definitely making Ranola work for it. I think that was quite a lot of passes, 21 passes for that offence. And not necessarily an easy gap opened up, but they can't easy enough for someone with a hammer like that.
Well, to answer the questions about the jerseys in the chat, so the UPS guy, I'm sure, well, that's ambiguous enough. Basically, the delivery person for the new jersey order for Ranola, unfortunately, was unable to bring their shirts to them. So they had bought brand new spanking jerseys for this part of the season, and they never came.
Oh, no.
So we've got a lot of double numbers.
So we're semi-forgiving them.
I mean, yeah, it's not entirely their fault, but it's still tricky for us to know exactly who's who.
They could be using some tape to put an extra 1 in front of some of the doubles, but it'll never stay on anyway.
But yeah, I think there might have been some extra shirt swapping here and there.
So we're now reaching the 50-minute mark in this game, so around half an hour left.
There's a bit of a banana cut downfield from Mike Richardson. Had all that space to work with. Didn't quite plant, just went for that. I'm just going to saunter over here. Gets this zone. Warnock looking a little bit frustrated, but that's a nice flick over the top. Baslet now. Of course, Bristol having lots of confidence off the back of their performance last time they were on the fields in Nottingham, of course, over at the Riverside Complex for Wind Farm. Lots of dishing, Richardson. Mason now. Noise starting to rise as the back set threaten to throw the overhead but do nothing with the disc. They're just happy to realistically run down the clock a little bit. Although Ranola are within easy reach of Bristol, they don't have that much of a lead, just the one break. Basler is completely free and available on the far side. They take on Basler, who just nipped out in the end zone to receive a swing pass. completely open shot on the near side of the field in that back corner of the end zone, probably just off your gaze. But the spacing is still there for Bristol, and Warnock opens the can and indeed finds James Sully on that pocket we just spoke about.
I think the ratio there was 20 threatened overheads to 1 finally thrown overhead. Every single time Bristol, you could tell, kind of wanting that option, just letting Ranola know, we've beaten you twice with this, we'll do it, okay, no, we'll just keep swinging, you're keeping it off for now. With that said, 39 passes to get that score. That was very well done from the Bristol handlers there.
Well, you have seen the influence of these different, more poachy, zoney style looks, but both teams have been favouring them. Of course, Ranelagh going more for the pure fire zone, Bristol rather kind of poach and switch off, kind of got a couple of sets that they like to use, but the highest pass tally by a decent margin, but we've seen some in the solid 20-something level of passes.
Yes, and that offense 1 shy of 40, so quite a bit more. Again, Ranelagh keeping that zone right the way up to the end zone, but you know,
I don't hate it.
no, if you're making the offense take that many passes to score, it's not necessarily a bad idea. On the other hand, it has been beaten the same way 3 times.
Well, maybe it just needs to be a little bit of an adjustment. Of course, as you say, if you can tire it out, you only need to get 2 breaks in this game at this current stage, but Bristol are still looking pretty threatening when they come out on defence. Nice underneath for Josh Reed. Doyle finds Murphy. A little bit of round the world marking from Jamie Rabbits, but oh my goodness, how free is Micklem? And he makes the lefty grab and spikes it underneath. Sam Micklem getting fired up here, and deservedly so. That was quite the roof.
I mean, it looked like it was all the space in the world. Henry Brooking for Bristol definitely tried to close it down, but never quite had the position, I think, to really generate the turn. That said, the Bristol O-line just took a lot of passes to get a score. Ranelagh get it in 6. They're going to have to go out and do the same thing again.
Well, it also shows the difference, doesn't it, between the kind of styles of defence you're seeing me put on. Bristol, as we already mentioned, they are favouring more of a switchy, poachy man defence coverage, match defence, rather than the zone that Ranelagh has been applying, which is making Bristol have to sit back a little bit more. They're not able to exploit so much with their height, not able to put so many sky balls up. The beginning stages of this game, if we cast our minds back to when we were sat on Instagram Live rather than on YouTube, Harry, there were a lot of deep shots going up for both sides. So I don't mind the Ranelagh zone, because fundamentally, if they can make some small adjustments, see some opportunities open up perhaps, because they haven't had a look in at a single break so far this game.
No, like, you need to do something, and whether that's just making them take a lot of passes. It has actually got a fair bit colder than it was in the morning, I'd say now. So, you know, if a player that's been on the sideline hasn't played as much, gets the disc, not warmed up, just has a mis-execution, it's all Ranelagh needs, but they're still not giving it to them so far.
Oh, I tell a lie, I have to correct myself. Is that pull in bounds?
Not quite.
No. I'm going to say. Because if I had landed there, then that's cold. But no, I tell a lie. Ranelagh have had 1 break opportunity. Looking back into the stats more formally, more fully, they've recovered 1 of their points. They've also have had a chance at a break. So Cameron, nearly throws a straight up flobble there.
Flobble?
Yeah, error. It's not a flobble wobble, it's just a flub. He's flubbed it.
He's flubbed.
But it's fine, he got redeemed wonderfully by a great reaction speed from Tom Summerby. Warnock on the far side now. That one, low but collected at boot level by Eddie Mason. That one's going to be way too hard though, and there is the opportunity for Ranelagh. Just coming into the pack is Rory Keogh. Finds Micklem. Keogh completely available. Corcoran now. Saucy scuba that's dropped by Sam Murphy.
It was right to the player, but you've got to say, maybe he just got his hands the wrong way up to deal with the scuba.
Yeah, I'm not sure he realised exactly what kind of throw was coming at him. But a squandered opportunity again for Ranola. That one is going to hurt. Oh, but Post-it tries to go through the letterbox, and Warnock with a huge rundown as it sneaks past Sam Micklem.
Almost looked like he let it go.
Vaslet's turned his cap backwards now, he means business. Cameron. Warnock initiating, as always. Can he add another stat to his tally? Still count starts to rise a little bit. Oh, cheeky again, finding the player that's got a match that's a step off and executing very swiftly indeed. Well. A hold.
Almost no celebration from Warnock there. Just yeah, I got that. That's a very good hold for Bristol. Ranola changing to match defence for that point, getting a turn, and then just an unforced error. One of the first we've really seen this game.
I can understand why there was no celebration from Warnock there, though. That was very, very nearly conceding a break, which you can hardly afford to do. We're running out of game clock. It's nearly been an hour so far. Local time 18 minutes past 1. This game started at 20 past 12. So there's about 20 minutes left and change.
And a timeout taken as well, just to maybe burn out the clock a little bit more. Last time we looked at the stats, Chris Allen had scored half of the points. Now Warnock has assisted half of the points for Bristol. Although equal on goal contributions with Chris Allen with 4 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Allen is, we've not said his name in a little while, maybe he's, taking some well-deserved rest after all that running, but I think you really do have to find an answer for Andrew Warnock. The zone has been working relatively effectively in slowing them down, but fundamentally still that last pass is coming off, and it was such a shame to see the dropped scuba from Sam Murphy. Corcoran, I would say that's probably a scenario where he didn't need to throw the scuba, or maybe he was caught in that grip.
That's just tough for me philosophically to think that there's not a need to throw the scuba.
Well, no, there was a debate about this as to whether or not it's better to throw an overhead or throw something upside down or something the right way up, so to speak. And I think that it's not necessarily invalid. Like, certainly when you are starting to play, your fundamentals are your backhand and your forehand, the right way up throws, but it's that unexpectedness that allows you to best the mark, but sometimes it comes out and it's not the same level of execution, not the same percentage of consistency compared to a more workmanlike throw. But Sam Murphy is going to make Luke Doyle do all the work. He goes for a hop of hope. Has Micklem bouncing up in front of him as well, like a spring bunny. Now distributes to Corcoran, who makes no mean feat of it. Finds Micklem in the back corner very quickly indeed, and that will bring us to a scoreline of 12-11. But can Ranola find the break that they need to level it up a little bit closer?
This is obviously purely subjective. It has looked as if Ranelag's offence has been smoother in this second half. With that said, it's Bristol who is up. There's a lot of pressure being put on them, but it's 12-11. They don't need to hold on for that many more points.
Indeed, just the 3 left, and plenty of time left on the clock to do it. So some power lines perhaps being called now. There's a shout out from fellow former Ranola coach Ian French to say Melvin's doing a great job. I don't disagree. I think the management of this game for Ranelag's been good. They have just had some unfortunate moments when they really needed to punch that break in.
Got to wonder, maybe if they do get another break, are they just going to go to a timeout, reset themselves and make up a game plan?
Well, fundamentally, it was always Ranola that needed to work harder in this game. harder and smarter, or perhaps just smarter, I don't know. I think everyone's putting their certainly full effort into this one. But of course, because Bristol started on offence, you have to get 2 breaks on them for the win. You see Luke Doyle looking hungry for, indeed, a break and a block on the far sideline. Vaslett now. Oh, and a hand block and a half! I tell you what, is that Ronan Callahan? Or is it Patrick Kelly-Bowen? Let me look at my cheat sheet notes, because there's 2 92s. And on site, I don't have the recall. Sadly, I've not done enough Ranelagh games. Ah, yes, a hat and pink boots. That would be the frame of Ronan Callahan getting the hand block on the far sideline.
A Callahan block, as you will.
Oh, not quite. He's going to have to go for chuck it in hope, though. He does have an option in the end zone, but it bounces out of the hand of Rory Keogh. Oh, what a shame.
It's big plays, but when Ranelagh have got this turn, it's not looked particularly smooth.
Well, there's perhaps a bit of mentality in there, though, you desperately need to get a break to keep yourself in with a chance at the top set. Richardson now fires into the centres of Vaslett. Can Callahan block once more? That one's going to tip off the fingers, so perhaps a bit more of a mental block than anything physical.
Very tight here. Can Ranelagh work it in, or are they going to try and just take the clean shot to the end zone?
A launch initially. Oh, and what a throw that was! And the break for Ranelagh. Shane Keenan with the goal.
Currently only the toss at the start of the game separating these 2 teams.
And I'm loving this celebration from Ranelagh, the kind of the crocodile clap catching.
Just eating it up.
Well,
I think it's the first time they've managed to have 2 bites at a defensive, at a break, and they finally managed to put one in. Both of them 1-pass shots. And I will say with the first one, I think if it had been a little bit further, there was separation there. It could have been an easier catch. It did find the hand the first time as well, just bounced out. So it's.
I think the phraseology you're looking for is it was a stone cold drop.
Stone cold.
No, Rory Keogh's been having a brilliant game so far. It's 1 turnover, yes, but he's also had 1 goal, 2 assists, and 1 big old block. But that point was all about the pressure being laid on by Ronan Callahan.
Yeah, it's just big hands. Get the defence started.
Well, I think Callahan's someone who's had a bit of a couple of seasons, a hiatus, if you will. From what I understand from head coach Melvin, and he's now back in the fold and he's slotted in like he never left, and that to me looks like it's going to be quite a nice pull. Not quite the distance I thought it had, too much curvature, but decently gets down there. Warnock throws the inside, of course connecting with Chris Allen, man who can rarely be denied. This is really tight match coverage. I think, again, Ranelagh pulling some power lines. You're seeing some of their O-line players coming out to try and get a second block in the game, because that would be quite the momentum turn. Oh, Rory Keogh swiping his paw behind, but a little bit short. Oh, going for the break, really sold there. The mark lost it. And a hold for Bristol to steady the ship and continue being in control of this game, but only just about 13-12.
Bristol, a simple job ahead of them. Don't turn the disc, put in your offences. Be great if the D-line can get something as well. I've got to say the Ranelagh D-line looking the stronger of the 2 right now, but that Bristol O-line, when it's clicking, Ranelagh were putting on such strong pressure there, and yet Bristol the favourites for every disc.
But that is about successful defence is not about necessarily getting a block every point, but if you're consistently putting on pressure, that can really do damage. And that is what I think is this turnaround that we're starting to see in the game, is Ranelagh consistently being there, putting that pressure on. We saw a bit of a power line run in the last one. I think we're going to get another one here. because of course we are very close to the points cap of 15.
Yeah, 13-12. Maybe it's a little bit of a risk to start putting on at this stage, but
Nah.
God.
This is the second game of the tournament for Ranola. They had the early game. They then sort of had a bit of a time to chill out. But we'll get the time cap in 13 minutes. Corcoran finding a soft spot in the pocket of the zone from Bristol. Trying to take a leaf out of Ranelag's book, slow the pace of this game down. I'm pretty sure that's Dean McCreary wearing the number 23. My eyes don't deceive me. But I could well be wrong. I've been wrong before. Let us know if you're an Irish fan. Keenan, at number 1, working the pocket. Hop across to Corcoran. Big club dishes, but into traffic and the snaffle block by Jack Hughes.
Almost a little bit casual, just stuck his hand out there, gently to the ground.
I don't know. I don't think there was anything casual about that hand slap, denying the disc. But can they turn it on and get the disc back? That would keep us close. Or is it going to be another break to go back in front for Bristol? A little bit of touching there, but Rabbit's happy to play through it. Oh, but there's a slippage on the reset. Henry Brooking coming completely unglued from the pitch. Sam Murphy upfield goes for a big backhand, and that is a beautiful shot, my son. Finding Josh Reed. I don't think Jamie Rabbit's expected that to come out at all.
No, he thought he'd closed down the margin, didn't leave much space, and a very casual one-handed catch in the end zone to take it to 13-13.
This may go all the way down to Universe. I'm glad we were able to bring together some extra technology to bring you this live stream. Massive shout out to Nick Ho, our media rat. Of course, he will still film the rest of this game even if Bristol don't manage to surmount Ranelagh, who of course are the defending European champions from last season. It seems like a really long time ago.
I've lost track of all time. Of course, with 13 all, that does guarantee this will be a game to 15.
Yes, that is accurate. And if you're enjoying this game, I love that comment. I feel like that is exactly it. Smurf has no fear. That is an accurate statement about the way that man plays Ultimate, and we love to see it. And loving to have him back, having recovered from his collarbone injury, which he took at that EVUCC back in May. So 13 apiece. Bristol to receive. Warnock. King Statue still finding Sam Cameron. Through to Allen. Getting power lines from both sides, I'm sure, at this point. Richardson. Warnock trying to go for some point and shoot. Usually you get the handler pointing, but this time it's Warnock saying, I would like the Frisbee over here, please. But a pick up field will bring us back.
I quite like the cutter pointing. I use it a bit myself. It's a very fun way to say, I back myself here.
I can catch the Frisbee on the break side. Can you throw it to the break side? Well, Warnock's going to have to run up line instead. Solid coverage in the front cone, but there's a big old one to exploit on the far side, and once again it's Bristol going over the top of the pack and collecting the goal. A much easier one this time for Chris Allen, so that will be yet another stat. 6 and 2. 6 goals and 2 assists. That's 8 of the 14 points Bristol have scored up to this point. And I really hope we're going to go to Universe here, Harry.
So do I. Warnock with his 7th assist. We don't have the breakdown of how many of those were hammers. But
do we need a hammer button?
Oh, especially just with a picture of a hammer on it that we can just smash down on, as it were.
Maybe what we need to have, just for you, Harry, is a series of small breakable things that every time someone scores with a hammer, you just can whack it with a hammer.
Especially with a hammer break.
Oh, I set myself up for that one, didn't I?
Yeah,
I did.
I can't not take those. Just like Ranola need to take this offense.
So So talking about the stats in this game, the D points that we've had, so we've had 13 Bristol D points, 3 of them have been successful, and 1 of them has been a conversion. For Ranola, they've had 14 D points, 3 of them have been successful, similar scenes, and 1 conversion, all on serve. You could separate these two teams by a hair's breadth. But a zone again from Bristol to try and slow things down. Can their D-line win this game? Micklem has McCreary over the top, easy. Enough to just snaffle the disc in front. Oh my goodness, that is such a beautiful throw. Can Sam Murphy track it down? Of course he can. Did you see the shape on that high release? I am feeling my feelings, Harry.
I think his shoulder might have been at the ground when he threw that. The lean on that flick. Absolutely beautiful. Finds the space, and that means it is 14 all.
Universe point! Apologies if we've slightly slapped your eardrums by doing that. But yeah, that was such a fantastic throw.
It looks like it's a timeout now, but don't go anywhere. This is the point you always want to see.
Oh, well, we can't go anywhere anyway. We don't have the capacity to run adverts. So we're sticking with you for the full stretch. And I think that is Dean McCreary that threw that deep shot. He's on our roster as not Dean McCreary. But let us know, live chat, in that number 23 shirt. Yes, Dino. There we go. My eyes do not deceive me. We've got as a commentator, you get a mighty large Frisbee Rolodex that you have to try and remember who everybody is. But with throws like those, and indeed DCU connection, which I presume stands for Dublin College Ultimate,
I was thinking that was probably what it was.
as opposed to TCD. Oh. They are cold. Sorry, I just ate a cold chip that made me very sad.
Up-to-date chip updates here on ULTI.TV.
Chip updates. We'll score update for you, just in case you missed it. Let's put it in the live chat. 14-14, universe point. Will Nick the Quick be a sad, sad rat? It's all Bristols to throw away at this point. Dublin City University, there we go. Thank you, Tutty, for the information. Warnock saying, get out of my way, I want someone else. Vasler underneath. Cameron far sideline. Is it going to be a mighty quick point? Match coverage chosen by Ranola to finish us off here. Warnock going to milk every drop out of that one backwards. But happy to do so. A player who is not short of needing room. Vasler reads it well, pops. A little bit of a slowdown, a collision upfield. That does look to be like Chris Allen on the floor. Cramp, by the looks of it. Which is no surprise, he's got 8 stats on the board so far this game.
His hamstrings just can't handle the pressure of the sudden death.
Well, always lovely to see opposition player assisting, and Luke Doyle just helping Alan stretch out his hamstring by the looks of it.
It's worth saying that Alan's like coming up to around chest height for Doyle.
Yeah, he's a big old unit, as are most of this Bristol squad. They have a lot of height, which, of course, Nottingham is known for having quite windy conditions, but it is still as it gets over here. So back in play. Lovely inside. Oh, and the continuation through to Mike Richardson. And there you have it, folks. Bristol have managed to top their way into the pool here. And that will surely see them into semi-finals tomorrow.
What a clutch win there from Bristol. Ranola went a breakdown early, never giving up until the end. In the end, you've got to give the MVP to whoever made the toss at the start of the game, because that was, in the end, all that could separate these two teams. With that said, Bristol in that position with the first offence, managing to hold their nerve, go for a couple of Ranola turns against them, and just take a simple shot to score at the end.
Well, it's going to be a difficult way through because, of course, the number one seed coming into the Open Division is indeed Clapham Ultimate, back-to-back UK champions for as long as you can remember, I'm sure. But it's going to be a tough way through to a gold here at UK Nats, but that's probably seen them do just about enough to put themselves certainly in good position to go to EUCF for Bristol, and Ranelagh are going to have to fight the hard way through. But it's been a pleasure bringing you this game. We're going to get off the air so we can see if we can fix and get back to full coverage for our next round. That, of course, will be a women's division game. We're going to have Gravity versus Sick Ultimate, see who can win that 50-minute thriller here at UK Nationals 2023. But for myself, Hannah Pendlebury, for Harry Mason, Nick Ho, the trio running our Ghetto live stream. Pleasure to have you with us, folks, and we will see you on the other side.
Lovely. Thank you very much. We're clear.